What's up, my friends? Welcome to another video. I'm Stuart. I'm here to help you get your skin and your overall health back on track. So there's 3 foods that people think are really good for their skin, but they're actually really not. Food number 1, food number 2, and food number 3. So you might be asking yourself, Rob, what are you talking about? These foods are totally healthy foods, and on paper, they very much are healthy foods. Nuts are a whole food, spinach is a whole food. They're not that bad of foods, but you have to understand that when you're healing an immune disease, and when you're healing a gut biome disease, and when you're healing your skin, you are not like other people. You have very, very special needs. So there are a whole lot of healthy foods that may actually not work for you. So in today's video, I want to focus on why these 3 foods are not great and why I actually do not eat these foods at all. I also want to explain to you guys why the majority of my clients who have healed their skin also avoid these 3 foods. It might not be as straightforward as you think. So for those of you who don't know, I've been skin disease free for almost a decade. I had eczema, dermatitis, and psoriasis. I started off with a plant-based diet and I've slowly worked my way all the way to a diet that is an animal-based diet. But really, the key for me healing my skin is that I customized every part of the process. Customizing your diet means you know exactly what foods work for you, you know exactly what foods don't work for you, and you know exactly what foods are neutral. Over the past 10 years, I've tested these 3 foods extensively, and they produced bad biofeedback and biomarker feedback, and that's why I don't eat them. Also, most of the time when I'm giving you guys a list of foods to avoid, it's not because they just don't work for me personally, but also you have to understand I've worked with over 1,500 people and I do a constant meta-analysis of their data. The foods that generally don't work super great for the most majority of people tend to be the same. And in this video, I'm sharing 3 of those foods: the beans, the nuts, and the cruciferous vegetables, as spinach just simply mess the most amount of my clients up, and so therefore they're on this list today. So knowing what foods to avoid and knowing what foods to eat is not gonna come down to whether your skin is having flare-ups from foods or not. Your flare-ups will always confuse you, especially in the early phases. Healing is not linear. It doesn't happen in a straightforward fashion. My skin personally, even in month 11 of the year that I cured my skin disease, was still having flare-ups. The key is biomarkers. And so what I want to do is I'm going to go through each one of these foods and I'm going to explain to you exactly why they don't work for me and why they don't work for my clients. So beans, very straightforward way of seeing if beans work for you or not. Checking your biomarkers and your biofeedback. One of the things that no matter how I eat beans, whether I soak them, whether I sprout them, no matter how I eat beans, they always make me have gas, they always make me feel bloated, and they always tend to make my digestion, my next day's poop, really messy. A lot of the fiber and a lot of the bean material comes right out undigested, unassimilated, and the poop smells really rancid. All of these biofeedback and biomarker mechanisms show that the food's not working for me. Stinky poops, bloating, farting, an uncomfortable feeling when the food digests, and across the board, whenever I eat beans, I have trouble sleeping. So all of these bad biofeedback mechanisms lets me understand beans are not a good food for me. They're also filled with lectins, filled with anti-nutrients, and for a lot of people, they just can't digest the anti-nutrients and the fiber and the lectins. Moving on. So number 2, nuts. I have thoroughly tested nuts with myself. I can handle a very small amount of almonds. I can handle 1 Brazil nut a day, and I can handle a very teeny tiny amount of walnuts. And I'm talking like 2 or 3 nuts total for the entire eating session. Again, on paper, nuts are an amazing food. And for those of you people who don't have immune diseases and who don't have skin issues, who can eat nuts and enjoy them and they're healthy for you, you're lucky. Nuts taste delicious. They're super addicting. They taste great. But unfortunately, again, for the skin diseased people, for the immune disease issue crowd, nuts tend to cause some major issues. Again, for me personally, bloating, bad gas, digestional issues. Many times when I eat nuts, I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning the next day and I have to take a diarrhea, crappy poop right away. And I'm talking like if I just have a handful of nuts. This happens to a majority of my clients as well. Nut butters are the absolute worst. Nut milks are not good either. But nuts in general for me are just not a good skin health, gut biome food for those reasons. Also, energetically, it's really important to pay attention to how a food actually makes you feel. When I eat nuts, I don't have any energy at all. It makes me feel like I'm swimming in a muddy pool, slow, foggy. Nuts instantly produce bad results for me. And the last one, spinach. Most people think that spinach is super healthy because most people blindly follow the fact that a lot of people say, eat more vegetables, eat more greens, which in general for the normal crowd of humans out there may be a great advice, especially compared to the standard American diet. But not to beat a dead horse, when you have eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, or rosacea, you have an immune disorder and you have very special needs. One of those special needs is that your filtration organs and your hormonal system is not operating in a balanced and productive way. When people like us eat cruciferous vegetables, not every time, but for many of us, those cruciferous vegetables not only don't have the right fiber profile for easy digestion and assimilation, but they also can negatively affect the thyroid, which is a huge organ for producing healthy hormones. Again, if you're eating a food that's diluting your thyroid function and not allowing you to have healthy hormones, long term, that food is not going to allow you to totally heal your skin. Remember, the three areas and the three most important aspects of healing your skin is the gut biome, your hormones, and your immune system. If any one of those three areas is being messed with or is out of balance, the skin is never going to reach its full potential. I avoid eating spinach and all cruciferous vegetables because, like the other two foods, when I've eaten them in the past, they don't digest well, especially spinach and broccoli and all cruciferous vegetables. The next day I poop them out and they have not been assimilated or digested at all. Similar to beans, whenever I eat cruciferous vegetables, especially spinach, I do not sleep well. I toss and turn. I get a little bit of weird restless leg syndrome. I just don't sleep good. And I'm up really early trying to get rid of that food. So those three foods are not good for me for those reasons. And for many of my clients, an overwhelming majority of my clients, they don't do well on these three foods either. The point of this video though is not to degrade these three foods and make you fear eating everything. It's to show you that you do have to slowly work your way through the diet, each food group slowly and consciously, and see how they affect your biofeedback and biomarkers so that you can actually naturally heal your skin. I do go over a step-by-step process of doing this in the 3 Phases Workbook, which you can get. There's links in the description box for the 3 Phases Workbook. It is my most clear offering that walks you through exactly how to customize your diet. And I will say this, customizing your diet is gonna do 90% of the healing work. You do have to cleanse and detox in a gentle way. You do have to be a healthy human. You have to deal with stress. You have to get enough sleep. You have to move your body. You have to work out. But if your diet is off, it's not going to allow the mechanism of the gut biome, healing the filtration system, healing the hormonal system, healing the immune system, healing the autoimmune system, and then the skin. If you don't do the diet right, that mechanism will never happen. I don't want you guys to waste your time. I want you guys to streamline the healing process as fast as you possibly can and live an amazingly healthy life like I have for the past 10 years. So leave your comments and questions down below. Remember to subscribe and share. Make sure your notification bell is turned on. For those of you looking to get a hold of me to become one of my skin health clients, there are links in the description box for a consultation. As I mentioned earlier, there's also a link for the 3-phase workbook, which is gonna be named something else in the future, and it will no longer be sold on my website or sold at all. The 3 Phases Workbook is turning into, an online course. So if you really like the PDF format and you like the price point, you better get it while you can, because soon there will be no 3 Phases Workbook. There will be a better offering. Anyway, guys, you can also find the link for Skinessa down below in the description box. It's the best probiotic on the market. Anyway, guys, I'll be back with many more videos really soon. Much love. Peace.